Welcome. For some of you guys who don't know who I am, my name is Susie Quintana. I have been in the health and fitness industry for over 20 years, over 2 decades. Okay. And it's not by chance. It's not just because I didn't have anything else to do with my life. No, it is because I eat, sleep, and dream about health and fitness. It is a passion of mine. It drives me, it interests me. And so there was nothing else I was going to do in my life other than this. So I'm living the dream. I am truly living the dream. Back in 2013, I took the leap and I started Cube Movements, which is my business where I do mindset, fitness, and nutrition coaching. I specialize mainly with working with women, helping empower them on their wellness journeys. Okay. Now, this is why we're all here. This is why we're here, which is why mindful eating. Okay. Why? There's so many other things that we can do, our approach to eating, but why mindful eating? Well, in 2006, I was at the top of my game. All right. I was working corporate wellness. I was working on finishing my master's degree. I was engaged to be married, active. I mean, couldn't be any better. And then things changed drastically. All of that came to a halt. I was involved in a car accident, and my world was turned upside down, physically, mentally, and financially. And I could vividly recall standing in front of my x-rays of my spine with my parents on one side and my neurosurgeon on the other side, pre-surgery. And he made a statement that triggered something in my head. He said, "You'll need to be careful as you get older about gaining weight. If you get pregnant or gain weight, it can have an impact on your back." Now I was just about to go in for a double lumbar fusion surgery. So I was already very high level of stress. And when he said that, stuck in my head. I managed it the only way I knew how at the time. And what I did was I restricted. I started obsessively thinking about food. I was depressed. I isolated. I didn't want to go out because if I went out, that would mean that, oh, maybe I'd end up at a restaurant with somebody and, oh, what am I going to eat? And I need to make sure I don't eat too much, but I eat enough. I mean, it was a constant mental battle. I lost my relationship. I left my job and I moved back home. I had to start over. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, the very one thing that I didn't know how to recover from, it wasn't the surgery. I didn't know how to recover from my relationship, my attitude with food. I had gone through so much mentally and physically, emotionally. I didn't know, I just knew that I was miserable during that time. The daily mental drain that I created for myself was incredible. I put that on myself because at that time, I didn't know another way. I didn't know. I was so much in the mindset of, I can't gain weight. And if I gain weight, it's going to have an impact on my back. And when that happened to me, when I lived like that for about 3 years before I had the surgery, I knew I didn't want to go back to that. So I was going to do everything I could to stay in line, to manage my weight. But I didn't do it in a healthy way. Physically, you can look at me and say, well, but it was here that it made the most damage mentally. It was in my mindset where all the turmoil was going on. No one knew about it. No one heard about it. It was in here. You couldn't tell if we go out to eat that I was thinking, oh my God, I can't eat too much. I shouldn't be eating this. I shouldn't have this. Oh, I had too much. Oh, constantly. Okay. So 12 years later, you guys, 12 years later, I lived in that headspace. And in 2018, some good things happened. One of which was I got married. I got married in 2018. And here's why it was a very good thing. Of course, I love my husband, but I also realized that he ate differently than I did. You know, when you get married and you're in the house with the same person, you see everything, right? The ups, downs, in and outs, what they eat, what they don't eat, how often they eat, what they drink, everything, right? You're in it. You're in a marriage. And it just blew me away that he would eat whenever he wanted, whatever he wanted. He wasn't guilty afterwards. He didn't talk about it. He wasn't obsessive about it. He would eat it, enjoy it. I mean, the look on his face, he's happy. He was happy when he was going to get something he wanted to eat and eat it. And I thought, wow, I want to be like that. I like that. That enticed me. That I want a lot of that. And what really took it over the edge for me here was that if you look at him, he's not overweight, and nor is he, stiff. He's not a beanpole. He's consistently active, and he eats mostly moderately 365 days out of the year. He wouldn't even know where to log his food if he did. Okay. Meanwhile, I was logging my food 3-4 times a day, every time I ate in my Fitness Pal. He wasn't counting or counting macros, calculating his macros, which I have done. He just simply ate according to how he felt. All right. And I thought, I want to feel like that. I want to have that same effortless and easy approach to eating. I want to enjoy myself when there's food around. I don't want to feel this level of anxiety constantly. I wanted what he had. I wanted that mindset he had when it came to food. And it was also around that time, getting married, is when I did start Q Movements, my business. So as you guys know, busy creating, scheduling, and then also a new marriage, do family, integrating the families. There was a lot going on. So I needed to ensure I had the mental capacity, the energy, because that's why you guys are here, right? Energy, focus, and sleep. All that was taken away from me when I constantly was in my head about all that. It drained me. I didn't have the energy any longer. I didn't sleep well. It was a constant. So I needed another way to do life. I needed another approach to manage my weight and also feel like a human being. Not feel as though something was wrong with me because I didn't have the same approach to eating as my husband did. That is why mindful eating. That is why mindful eating. It is the final solution, you guys. It's transformative. It is truly transformative. And here it is. It can work for anyone, no matter if you've done it for 12 years like I did, 1 year, 60 years. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what gender you are. It can work for you. All right. Now, enter mindset. So I want you guys to take a look at that visual there and look at that mindset and think about which side does your brain resonate with? Where do you feel your brain looks like? More the one on the left side or the right side? That right side is pretty fiery, right? That right side is very fiery. We see a lot happening there, probably a lot of decision making, a lot of emotions, busy, stress, for sure. Well, whether you know it or not, guys, there is such a thing called decision fatigue because our brain is finite. It's finite. So how we use it is very, very important. And when I learned this, I thought, I'm wasting so much of my energy on food, on thinking about it, planning it, logging it. I didn't get much of a return from it. Think of a return on investment, right? We're going to invest something, we want a return. What I was putting into my brain when it came to food, I wasn't getting out of. Yeah, I managed my weight, but I was miserable. I didn't feel good all the time like I felt like I should. It felt like a job rather than something that happened naturally and organically. Okay. So when we make decisions, stress, all that does have an impact on our brain. It drains us. And that's why we can be in a position where we may find ourselves and our body responding, fatigue, you can't sleep, feeling wired but tired, that whole feeling. When it comes to mindset, it's a you versus you. It's not me and you, and someone else. It's you versus you. It's 100% mental. The mind is what you create. The mind is what you create, and we want to ensure that we grow our mind. And how do we do that? We analyze our emotions. We analyze what's going on inside of us. And when we can do that, we can then take the next step and learn how to manage those emotions. Because the more you feel them, the more you feel comfortable with them. The more you feel them, the more you will feel comfortable with them. The mind is very powerful. So what are the big down movers? How do you get from point misery to point freedom? You get your life back, you get your time back, and you still are healthy. You can have it all with mindful eating. The biggest down mover for me was Moderation 365. In 2020, I was introduced to Moderation 365, which is a food relationship course. Okay, it's not a diet. It's not a weight loss. It's not a meal plan. It is a straight up mindset course with regard to your relationship with food. Okay. I started practicing Moderation 365 in 2020. The 4 key pillars are moderation, mindfulness, abundance mindset, and daily nutritional commitments. So since 2020 and on, I have been working with clients and teaching them this philosophy, this approach with food. And what I have found, not just for myself, but through my clients, is the easiest and the quickest and most effective way to start mindful eating is through mindfulness. Because you can start that now. You can get that going for the next meal right now. So, next steps. And this is true. Dieting does make us dumber. We start relying on plans and times and this and that, rather than relying on ourselves. What are we feeling? What are we going through? Most of us, myself included, in the past, only register 2 extremes. You're either stuffed, you have to unbutton that top button. We've all been there at one time or another, or you're starving, you're famished, right? Starving or stuffed. And what happens is that puts us in a situation where we're not in a good situation. Then we're not getting the energy that we need. We don't have the focus that we need to have to do the things that we need to do at the levels we want to do them. Okay. There is massive utility in allowing yourself to feel hunger, to surf the hunger. And you know why? Because most people only know how to fight hunger. They white knuckle it. That was me, white knuckle it. Oh, I can't give in. I can't have that other cookie. I can't have that piece of cake. And someone from the outside may be like, oh my God, what's her problem? It's just one slice of cake. It's just one cookie. Didn't matter, because in here mentally, I had another show going on. I had a whole nother reel going on in here that no one else really knew about. So I encourage you, allow yourself to feel, because when you do, When you do, you open yourself up to opportunities to then address those feelings. And only good things can come from that, right? If you're feeling hungry, then you need to eat. If you're feeling stuck, then you need to stop. But most times we're already wired to just do what we've been doing for so many years, and it's not working for us. And we've tried this, we've tried that, it's not working for us. But when we go into the mindset, I guarantee you, it will work. It will work. Now, moving on here. So if dieting makes us dumber, then that means mindful eating is going to make us smarter, right? But why? Why? It's easy to say, it sounds good to say, you know, it falls in line with what I'm teaching here. But why does mindful eating make us smarter? It's because we're tuning into what's going on with our bodies. If I put you on a meal plan, say at 7 o'clock you eat this, 8 o'clock with this, you might be sleeping in late. You might be on vacation that day. There's so many other factors that are involved that will have no clue of what's really going on inside of you, versus saying, hey, you know what? How many times have we heard, oh, I was too busy to eat. I forgot to eat, right? I mean, I used to say that. Oh, I forgot to eat. Too busy. I get it. I get it. Then at the end of the day, what happens? Brain fatigue, decision fatigue. At the end of the day, when everything is settled down, guess what? Oh, now we're hungry. And we are already decision fatigued out in the brain. And so we're not going to be at our best spot to make the best decisions when it comes to eating. Okay. That can happen. That does happen. And the contrary happened. I had several of you guys email me back and telling me about your struggle with food. And guess what was the biggest one that came out from most people, not everyone? That was eating when you're not hungry. That was one of the biggest ones. Their problem was eating when they're not hungry. Mindful eating is going to help you solve that problem, okay? If you are checking in with yourself and it's 5 o'clock and you're thinking, I'm hungry right now. No, I'm not, but there's some food in the pantry in the next room over. If you're not hungry, then does it make logical sense to get up and eat? It just doesn't, right? But we have a tendency to do it because we get into patterns, right? We have these patterns. We have these old narratives that we have. Oh, I got to treat myself because I did good today. And now I'm going to treat myself to something in the evening. Or I'm going to treat myself to this, that. Rather taking the emotions out and getting clinical with it. Getting clinical, asking myself, am I hungry now? It's 9 o'clock at night. No, I ate pretty good throughout the day. My energy is pretty stable. I'm not hungry. There's no need for me to eat. But when we can't pause and be mindful, alert, aware, then we just fall into those patterns. We fall into those patterns too easy. I was doing mine for 12 years. I've had other people doing it for longer than that and shorter than that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at this point because now you can do things differently. Okay. Now, get a little bit involved here, a little participation. So right now in your chat, if you could, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's about 12, 20 or so here in Central Time Zone. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to type in the chat box, how hungry are you right now? How hungry are you right now? Okay. Good. All right. Perfect. I've got Debbie at an 8. I've got Nancy at a 1. At another 1. So let me keep going. Perfect. I've got a 2. All right. Now, if Debbie were my client and I asked her, how hungry are you right now, Debbie? She said an 8. I'd say, okay, Debbie, in the next 30 minutes to an hour, you need to get something to eat. Put something in your system, okay? Eat something within the next 30 minutes to an hour, if not sooner, all right? Now and probably in Debbie, where Debbie is, maybe she's about to have lunch after this, or it's getting closer to lunchtime. So I can understand that. Now, let's see, let's go with Nancy. Nancy gave me a 1. So I probably think Nancy probably already ate lunch because she's at a 1. She probably had lunch already and she's not hungry. So I would say, Nancy, good, love it. You're at the right spot, perfect. We're not feeling these ups. All right, next, on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to type in the chat. How full are you right now? 10's gonna be stuffed, full, can't move. And 1, of course, is gonna be, you're not full. Let's see what we got. All right, okay. Ah, okay. Okay, we got Patty just had to drank a bottle of water. So she's about a 5. Gina's about a 5. So how full she is right now, that probably tells me she probably had something within the last 30 minutes, probably the last 30 minutes to hour and a half. She probably just ate not too long ago. Okay. Now we've got Jean at a 5 or 6. So how full are you right now? So probably Jean most likely had something not too long ago either, probably within the last 2 hours, maybe the last 2 to 3 hours. So he's right in that middle zone. So if Jean were my client, I'd say, hey, you know what, Jean, how full, it seems like you're going to be good for another couple of hours. You don't need to worry about thinking about food or that blood sugar dropping. You're good. Keep doing what you're doing. And then we've got, okay, we've had coffee, Jean, I see that. Next, in the chat box, I want you to put, excuse me, are you craving anything right now? And if it's a yes, tell me what you're craving. Put it on there, okay? And if it's a no, it's a no. All right, we've got a couple of no's, okay. No's. Oh, you guys are better than me here. No's, we got a lot of no's, no cravings right now. Okay, not bad. That is a very good sign. What I will say that for me, I haven't had lunch yet. Okay, I've had breakfast. Ah, here we go. Thank you, Jean. Jean said, I always crave sweets. All right, we're together on that one, Jean, 100%. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is, I do crave sweets. I love it. So in that particular case, I would say to Jean, as I say to myself, have something. Have a square of chocolate. What I do at times is get those candies where they have the little individual wrapped ones, where they're small, and I can treat myself to that whenever I feel like I want a sweet treat. It's not a whole candy bar. It's not a whole piece of cake. It's something. And with time, I've learned to satisfy myself with those little pieces of sweet treats in my particular case, okay? Because here's the thing. If we don't honor that craving, what's gonna happen? Oh, all day. Oh man, I am craving some chocolate. 5 o'clock. Oh, I can't. Oh, I really wish I could have some chocolate. 8 o'clock. Oh man, chocolate would be really good right now. 9 o'clock. I'm going to have the chocolate and I'm going to have it all. Okay. Of course, that's an extreme, but it happens. It happens. All right. Next, in the chat box, how satisfied do you feel with either your meal so far that you've had today or the last meal that you had? Are you satisfied or are you not? Satisfied or not? How do you feel with either the last meal you've had or the day of eating you've had? Satisfied or not? Ah, good. Satisfied today. Okay, not. Okay. Now, Diane, unsatisfied. Okay, Scott, we got some unsatisfied. We have both, which is normal, right? Now, if Diane were a client of mine, I would say, here's the good news, Diane. You still have at least 2 more meals, either a lunch and a dinner or a dinner and a snack. You still have 2 more meals today to get back on track where you do feel satisfied. Your day is not over. There's still an opportunity to come back from that. Okay, that's the beauty of mindful eating. You don't have to wait until January 1st, right? You don't have to wait till Monday. You don't have to put those crazy restrictions on yourself. You can start the next time you eat. And then the time after that. That is the beauty of mindful eating, because you're every day you're practicing. And just like anything else, like a new language, like like an instrument, the more you practice, the better you're going to get at it. Period. All right. Next one. Is your energy level right now stable or all over the place? Stable or all over the place? All right, Debbie, good. Stable. Ah, got some good stables. Okay. Excellent. Okay. We got a not sure. Okay. We got a not sure from June. On this particular question, I would say we got stable, but had a great workout this morning. Okay, great. Thank you. Right now, stable. Good. I would say if your energy level is feeling all over the place, which you could feel like that at 12:30 in the afternoon, it could feel like that at 7, at 8 in the morning, anytime throughout the day. What that has a correlation with is, believe it or not, is what you're eating, when you're eating. I'm going to go back to, I was so busy, I forgot to eat. I was so busy, I didn't have time to eat. When we deprive ourselves of that fuel that we need for our body to function, it's going to show up in our life. Okay. So when we're feeling unstable energy, the way we stabilize it is this. Let me move it on here. Utilizing our tools for success. Okay. Before I get into the tools, I want to say to you guys, mindfulness, it can feel hard in the beginning, only because it's something different that we're not used to. Think about emails and texting and even Zoom. Oh my goodness, like at first clunky, uncomfortable. How am I going to do this? I can't text. What is this? Send what? All of that. I've been there, and I'm sure you guys have too. But now, years later, months later, rocking it out. Okay. That's really important, because I want you to encourage you to invest in your future when it comes to mindfulness, because it is your future. What's done is done. I shared my story with you guys, and it's important because I want you guys to know that there is an opportunity for things to change in the future, starting now. Okay. So put in the time. You're here, you're registered, you're listening, you're engaged, and you will get the rewards back through energy, energy, focus, and sleep. And when we have a better balance of that energy, focus, and sleep, just think of all the other things that we're going to be able to do in our lives at higher levels, in different areas of our lives, maybe just not our profession, but in our families or relationships. Because I don't know about you guys, but if I don't eat when my body tells me I need to, I get a little cranksters. And, it probably happens to you guys too, but it's just not a place where I want to be, especially when I can control it, when I have the ability to control it myself. So 3 tools for your success. Number 1 is the alarm. Okay. This is how you're going to increase your energy, focus, and your sleep quickly and easy. Set your alarm. Set your phone alarm or your watch alarm, whatever. Set your alarm for every 3 hours. And it's not to remind you to eat every 3 hours, because you might not be that person that needs to eat every 3 hours. Every body is different. That's the beauty of mindful eating. It's not a plan. It's not a program that you've got to eat at this time and eat that. It's not. Set your alarm for every 3 hours. And when the alarm goes off, ask yourself, how hungry am I right now? And think about that scale, 1 to 10. For me, right now, I'm probably about a good 6, 7, which means I need to eat, which I plan to, in the next 30 minutes to an hour. Okay. The kicker here is, don't get judgmental with your answers. If I said, oh, okay, I'm at 8 right now, let's say I'm about a 6 right now, and I'm thinking, well, I just ate breakfast maybe a couple hours ago, I shouldn't need to be, once I start getting to that mindset, then I'm judging myself, right? I'm judging, I'm starting to, critique myself on why I shouldn't or why I should, rather than just addressing it. If I'm a 7, if I'm a 6, then that means that my body is feeling that and it needs something. And the best way to address that is to honor it, to not ignore it. Okay. Then the alarm goes off again in the next 3 hours. And at that time, you may ask yourself, how full do you feel at that moment? And you may be like, you know what? I'm pretty much at an 8. I'm good. I'm probably not going to have to, eat for another 3 or 4 hours. We'll see. I'll check in later. And it goes on and on. One day into the next day, to the next day. The sequence of the questions is not important. Okay. You are going to find what works for you at that time in terms of how hungry you are, how full are you craving anything? And like I said, the cravings, honor those cravings. Don't ignore them, because they're going to stay there and they're going to get even more intense. All right. Like I said, mindfulness is, I share this with my clients all the time. It's about gathering data, information. We need to take the emotions out of it. And I know that's easier said than done, but it can be done with practice and mindfulness. And when we take that information in, we can do something with that information. If we're feeling hungry, we not feeling hungry, we don't eat. Okay? You versus you. Not you and a meal plan, not you and anyone else, not you and your husband, not you and your spouse, you versus you. Okay. Next. Oops, let me go back. Tool number 2, mindful snacking. So here's the deal. Like, there's no way I could present anything to anybody and not consider the fact that we are going to want a snack. We have snacks from time to time. Not every meal is this composed meal throughout the day. Sometimes we need to get a snack here and there. So mindful snacking is the way to go. It's how to taste anything, but also not binge. All right. How to taste anything and not binge on nothing. Okay. So with mindful snacking, I'm going to say Susie 1.0 was anything that would tempt me, Sour Patch Kids, anything that would tempt me, I could not have in the house. Okay. No, I told my husband, no, we can't have this in the house. No. And I thought I was helping myself. I thought, oh yeah, I'm good. I'm not putting in myself in that situation, in that, dangerous situation. But it's a false sense of control, because at some point I'm going to come across some Sour Patch Kids. I'm going to come across the sweets, whatever I'm craving. I'm going to come across it. It's inevitable. And we tend to put up these foods on pedestals and just perpetuate this illicitness, like, oh, I can't be around it. Mindfulness is about taking that food off the pedestal and put it right in our face and familiarize ourselves with the food. So much so that it loses its allure. Right? It's no longer tempting. That's the 2.0 strategy. That's where we really take some big strides here. The ultimate is the 2.0 strategy of being able to be around any food, anytime, and be able to have it and move on. So the ultimate in control is not really don't be around it. The ultimate in control is this, is being able to trust yourself in any situation, anytime, on vacation, happy hour, holiday, birthday, and be able to make healthy-ish food decisions. I didn't say perfect, but healthy-ish food decisions. And as you do this, over a period of time, you create a show of evidence that you can trust yourself around food. It just needs practice. Just practice. You need to get those reps up. Practice. Think about working out. Practice. Think about a language. Think about an instrument. You don't get from A to Z without practicing. And when you do practice and you focus and you're really have a desire to do this, it will happen. Okay. Next. Tool number 3, eating to 80% fullness. Okay. This one is a little nuanced because guess what? A lot of us are not practiced at eating to 80% fullness. We're either stuffed or we're starving. Like I said earlier, we're stuffed or we're starving. So eating to 80% fullness is a feeling that we need to get accustomed to, get used to. And the only way that you can really know if you're at 80% fullness is if that you can still eat more. You can still eat more, all right? Now, the best strategies for practicing 80% fullness are these. Number one is surf the disappointment. So you're, say, at home, you have a meal, you're practicing 80% fullness, you're at a stopping point, you're like, okay, I think I'm there. And you're probably thinking or feeling, I could eat more. I want more. I sure would like to have more. I'm used to eating all my food off my plate. I want you to sit in those emotions. Surf that disappointment. As I said earlier, feel the feelings. Because here's what happens. I've done the surf the disappointment and have stopped and felt like, oh, I really want more. But here's what really is the key point that got me over the hump was that I stayed there. I felt the disappointment. And then I eventually went on with my day. And when I did, I wasn't like super lethargic. I couldn't move because I didn't get enough food that time. Or I wasn't like, oh, I can't think. Or it didn't have an impact on me at all. The impact was here mentally. It wasn't physically that I felt a difference. It was mentally that I was, oh my gosh, I really need to eat this. I was telling myself a different narrative than what was really feeling, what it was really happening. And surfing the disappointment, we will not know where we are until we actually put ourselves in that situation and allow ourselves those emotions and feelings. Because the more that we do that, the more that we can analyze it, address it, and move forward. Okay. Next one works really good at a restaurant. Napkin over the plate. It's a sign to you mentally, visually, that you're done for that particular meal. You're done. Okay. You can also, when you order, have the waiter pack up half of the meal. So when they present you the food, you have half of the meal and you can take the other half home. There's lots of ways to get creative with this. I know some of you guys do practice that. And then the last one is gum in your mouth. A gum, a peppermint, a breath freshener, something to clear your palate after you eat. Okay. That also is going to mentally and physically send a signal to your brain that I'm done. I'm done. Okay. We need to get clinical. We need to ask ourselves these questions. It will help us make the decisions for moving forward because we have been such in a mode of just do, and habit, old narratives, whatever the case may be. This is what I've done all my life. So this is what I'm going to continue to do without allowing ourselves the option to have a growth mindset and say, you know what? Things can be different. It can be different. It is doable. Because mindful eating is not about getting ready for the next 10-year reunion. It's not trying to compete with your sister-in-law because she lost weight on a so-and-so diet and you want to lose weight too. No. Mindful eating is not for revenge. Mindful eating is for you, okay? It's for you to find what you want. Well, that's your mental approach, your attitude, okay? So when you tell yourself something that you're going to do, whether it's in this case, mindful eating, say, okay, the next meal, I'm going to, practice mindful eating. And then you don't do it. And then you tell yourself, okay, the next meal, I'm going to practice mindful eating. And then you don't do it. Every time you make a promise or you tell yourself, because no one else is telling me that. I haven't talked about anybody else here other than me. Same thing for you guys. When you tell yourself, I'm not going to do it, I don't do it, that's registering up here in the mindset. And what that is saying is that you're not worth it. You're not taking care of you. You don't feel it's important enough to do what you need to do to get better for yourself and those around you. Every time. We may not feel it makes a big difference, but it does. It sends signals to our brain about how we're feeling and what we're doing and how we treat ourselves. Okay. Now, after all of this, I know you guys are just can't wait to practice mindful eating your next meal, your next snack, anytime, the next meal, you are going to be practicing mindful eating. But before you do that, I want to invite all of you guys into my Moderation 365 coaching program. Okay. This program is an opportunity for you to do a deep dive into your relationship with food. All right. And how it's showing up in your life. I shared with you how it's showing up in my life. No energy, poor sleep, not good focus, and stress. I mean, just mental agony. Everyone has their story. Everyone has their why. Mine, as I said to you, was and it could happen to anyone at any time. My moment was standing in front of my x-rays of my spine, like I said, with my neurosurgeon on one side and my parents on the other. And for him to make that statement, I know he was telling me the honest truth, but I took it into my brain into something to the extreme. And that was on me. But that's okay, because I found another way, and it's mindful eating and it's moderation. All right. And in my 6-week coaching program, we have a similar format like we do here. It is, we meet once a week on Zoom. And here it is, guys. I'm going to tell you this on the upfront. There is homework. Okay. There is homework weekly, but it's practicing. Okay. Because like I said, you need to practice some of these tools and strategies in order to get better at them. All right. So there will be some homework. There's going to be time to discuss the challenges, the ups, the downs, all of that, not just from what my experience, but from others in the group. And that also is a really good experience, because you get to think and feel, or excuse me, you get to hear that, that's what I do, or I've done that. And at that point in time, you feel like, oh, okay, yeah, we're on this journey together. And the Moderation 365 is an excellent, amazing opportunity for you to do something different in a different way when it comes to food. All right. Some of the highlights of the program, the 6-week, is definitely an improved relationship with food overall. Okay. Not just on vacations or happy hours. This is wherever, whenever. Okay. Food freedom from food obsession. Food obsession is not necessary that you consume a lot of food. That's one way of describing food obsession. You can consume it, but you can also obsessively think about it and not necessarily consume it. That was me. Okay, I didn't consume a lot of food, but in my brain, I was obsessed with the food because I didn't want to eat too much, make that have an impact on my back, go back to the life and the misery that I was feeling during that time of my life. There was just no way I was going to go back there. I was that desperate for a change. Okay. Mindful eating habits, like we've just talked about, some other tools and strategies to help with that. Weight management. There's definitely opportunities to lose weight with mindful eating and moderation, but that's not the goal. The goal here is let's figure out, let's get in tune with our body. Let's learn to feel the emotions of hunger and full and satiety. Let's get back in tune with that. Once we establish that, then we can do some tweaks and do some weight, mainly it's going to probably be weight loss. Okay. And people have lost weight on Moderation 365. As a matter of fact, I think I have a client who lost 13 pounds, not because she was on a diet, because she practiced a different way of approach to food. Next, improve health markers. Let me tell you about that. Definitely blood sugar levels, blood pressure. Those health markers have a tendency to go in a more positive direction than not. When you start relaxing around food, you're not as tense and tight. You're more confident because you have a plan of action. And it's not dependent on what somebody told you. Oh, we should have been eating rice at this time. No. It's about just being accountable to you. And during that time, I support you. Okay, I'm going to be there every step of the way to guide you, answer the questions, fill in the blanks, give you suggestions, strategize with you, all the good stuff. All right. Now, for a limited time, there is a 50% off of this 6-week group coaching program. And that's not all. That's not all. I feel like I'm Bob Barker up here. That's not all. There is more, guys. There is more. Because you guys took the step registering for the webinar. You're here, you're listening, you're making it happen. I'm giving just those that are registered for the webinar an additional $50 off, okay? And you are gonna get an email shortly today with all the details here, okay? It's gonna let you know the coupon code, where to register, all the good stuff. So don't worry about that. You will get an email with that information here shortly. And you know what? That's still not enough. That's still not enough, because I believe in this so wholeheartedly and the benefit and the change it's had in my life. I want to ensure that those that join are going to be in the best position to be successful with all the tools and the strategies that I am gifting the first 5 individuals a free one-on-one coaching, mindset coaching session with me. And we're going to go over how you are going to be at your best and get the most out. The return on investment, right? I talked about that earlier. How are you going to get the most out of Moderation 365, eating mindfully and moderately? Not just for today, not just for this week, not just for this month, but for the long haul. Okay. All of that, over $900 in value, you guys, $900 for only $299. $299. Okay. Like I said, you're going to get the email with the information, all that information. I'm going to move it on to making sure you guys know how to connect with me. Website was on there, my email. I also host a podcast called The Fitnatics, which is a health and fitness podcast. I'm on social media, mainly Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. Okay, if you guys want to see some of my my work, my programs, my workouts, it's all there for you to enjoy and get a little bit more about me and who I am. With that being said, it's time for questions. It's time for questions. And my little ones, these are my little ones, Taylor and Bonnier. They're not little though. They're not little, let me tell you. Thanks, Debbie. How cute. Thank you. All righty, let's see. Any questions in the chat box? Let me see. Did I miss any questions? And type them in there now. Anything, everything. Thank you. Okay, the dogs can't steal the show. We still have to see if we have any questions here. Feel free to put those in the chat box. No question is a dumb question. Believe you me, I've asked them all. So let's hear it, because more than likely someone's going to have the same question as you. That happens all the time. All right, I did get a question, which is, do you have to attend all of the group coaching sessions? Yes. I'm going to give it a hard yes, simply because you're going to get the recording. You will get the recordings after our sessions. However, like I said, committing and being there, when we are able to talk together one-on-one in that group setting, we can knock out and talk about some of the things that you're going through as you practice some of the tools and strategies. So definitely, I want to say that you don't have to be at everyone, but you will definitely benefit more if you do. Okay. The other question is, what day of the week? They are on Wednesdays at 12 noon Central. And the program begins, that's a big one, right? The program starts June 14th. June 14th, okay? The sessions are Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Central, and they start June 14th. All righty. Now, let's see. How do you handle when you cook for 2? Oh, got it, Diane. Got it. Her question is, how do you handle when you cook for 2, but one doesn't need any modification? Okay, how do you handle when you cook for 2, but one doesn't need any modification? What type of modification, Diane? What do you mean? Let's see what you got. Okay, got it. Like my husband, okay? I just want to make sure. She said he can eat anything, or yeah, he can eat anything. Same situation with my husband. I feel like, oh my God. What happens when you cook for 2 is, remember, this is you versus you. Whether my husband eats XYZ or not, even though he's cooking for both of us, it doesn't matter. This is my food and this is my mouth. I'm in control of how I manage that situation. So whether he eats everything or nothing should not have an impact on what I'm putting in my mouth. what I need to be concerned with, or what you need to be concerned with most is, are you hungry? And if you're hungry, eat. And if you had half of your plate and he's had the whole plate and you're thinking, I'm full, I'm done, then that's when you stop. Okay. So I love mindful eating because it doesn't rely on people you're around, people that you eat with, because you're doing you. And learning how do you do you and what works for you is just monumental. It's massive. And being able to follow through, because it's hard, Diane. I get it. There was a time I was like, oh, okay, he's eating this, and I'm going to eat this too. I'm going to, and I found that no, because he's different. That's the bottom line. Diane, is very true. I'm glad you brought that question up. Men, women, different. And then we'll take it from there. Our eating habits are different. What you need, what level of energy, what level of fuel you need is going to be different from somebody else. So you have to continuously be focused on you. Okay, hopefully that answered that question. Okay, I've heard, this is a good one. I heard and read the lectures about dieting for a long time, but it always starts with the individual to be motivated. Very true. I mentioned that in the onset, June, in terms of it does have to start with you being motivated. What's your why? My why, June, was 12 years of never feeling good or really feeling satisfied when it came to food. Family gatherings, eating out, work situations. And I thought, why am I doing this to myself? I am in good shape. I work out. I'm a fitness professional. Why? Something is off. Something is off. And that was my motivation when I saw my husband eat so freely and effortlessly. It motivated me to say, you know what? I can do that too. I want to be that way too. So for you, June, I say definitely the individual it needs to start with motivation to do something different. Do something different. Because as always, just like with any diet or anything, there's going to be times where we get tired and we're like, I don't want to do that. So we need to ensure that mentally we're in a space where we're like, we have that desire. I know for me, I'm not perfect, but 80% of the time, I'm pretty good. 20%, 80%, I'm on point. Thank you. Any other questions? Great questions. I just checked. Let's see, June. Jean, I just checked. You know me. Yes, very busy. Jean is very busy. 2 to 6 weeks, I'm already committed, but I can still do it. Yes. You still are going to have access to the recordings, all of the materials. You have access to me. We do check-ins. So definitely, absolutely, Jean. Any other questions? These are great questions. Wow. Well done. Well done. All righty. With that being said, show up bonus for you guys. I'm going to put all your names in a drawing. I've got it down here. All the names are going to go in a drawing for a $25 Amazon gift card. $25 Amazon gift card. You guys be ready. I'm going to send out who is the winner later this afternoon. And actually, it's going to be tomorrow. I'm going to send it out tomorrow. Today, in your inbox, probably in the next 4 minutes or so, you will receive the email with all the information. Tomorrow, you're going to get an email with the recording. Okay, if you missed something or want to see it again or share with somebody, by all means do so. The recording will be there along with the winner of the $25 show up bonus gift card. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for your time, your attention. I appreciate it. See you soon. Bye, everyone.